Did you already start recording?
Yeah.
Oh.
Peace, love, and blessings to you. Sandra and Paul here. So the last episode we were with my sister for her first profession of vows, and we just had to record that before we even got a chance to record this episode about our wedding. So let me just apologize ahead of time. We just did how long was our hike yesterday?
I don't know, but it was 11 miles. It was long.
It was a long hike. So if we're just like a wee bit like under the energy level that we're at normally, that's why. Because the wedding itself is just, I don't have words to explain it. And there's so much more joy that comes forth from talking about it, but we're tired, but we still want to talk about it. So we just want to talk about kind of like the wedding itself, kind of like the intentional choices that we made about it to make sure that it's centered on the sacrament itself. And then just if there's time to talk about the graces and the sacramental graces, kind of why we chose to truly embrace this sacrament of marriage in the beginning. But I just wanted to talk and start off by saying that our wedding was probably the most cheapest wedding. I don't think we reached the $10,000 mark. Like, not even. And
I don't think we were close to that.
No. And some of
also might have been one of the smallest weddings.
Yes. So we intentionally wanted it small and not involving a lot of stuff and planning because we wanted it to be focused on what was happening, on God pouring down his blessings on us to become one. And like, just thinking about that just blows my mind still. But yeah, so it was cheap. Probably the most expensive thing was us renting a Verbo for our reception, which ended up being super awesome. There we had like buffet style food. It was just super homey, super cozy. I wore my mom's dress. It was retailored. I handmade the veil.
Mm-hmm. And I was there when she was. Well, I wasn't there, but I was on the phone when she was making it, and then
with his mom. Oh my gosh, it was weeks and weeks and weeks working on it with his mom. And his brother.
And there would be times where I would come from work early, but I knew that they were working on the veil, so I knocked on the door. I don't normally knock on the door, but I knocked on the door and I just hear like moving around in the house.
Yes, it was so much fun. There's so much like DIY crafts and projects. Even like the day of the wedding, this was such a hilarious part. Was we were coming into the reception house, kind of expecting like a big like welcome, like after the wedding, and instead we see everyone like shuffling around the house doing something. We're like, what is going on? And we're realizing that like people were helping to get the food set up. Like it was just such a family feel. It was amazing. The choir that we sing with, they were the ones that were doing the music. Didn't have like crazy, I don't know, media people. I had a friend who did our photography. It was just so family oriented, and we wanted it that way because we wanted to focus on the sacrament that we had been preparing for months. We were prepared not by one, but by two priests.
Yeah.
We were watching, what was that series called on Formed? Beloved.
Yeah.
That's an amazing series on Formed. It was just
about marriage and the sacrament and all the graces that come.
Yeah, and so I think that we were highly successful in making sure that the focus was um, the sacrament itself. So I don't know if there's anything that you want to say about like the day of the wedding, like how you felt, or like the mass itself.
Well, the day of the wedding, before, I wasn't really nervous. Like, I'd been hearing everybody around me that was like, "Are you nervous? Are you nervous? Are you nervous?" And I didn't feel nervous, and I started feeling bad because I wasn't nervous. But yeah, when it came to like maybe 10 minutes before Sandra came walking down the aisle, I started getting really nervous and like anxious. Um, I was supposed to get to the church at 2. I didn't get there until like 2:15. Um,
I didn't know that.
yeah. But then I was just waiting and waiting, and then they told me to, because there's the rehearsal where I had to walk across around on the side to meet her by the altar, and they said it was time for me to do that, and then I was just waiting and waiting, and then I see Sandra with her parents, like behind a little pillar in the back, like trying to hide her. And I just see the little end of the wedding dress and a little bit part of a lot of the veil. It was a long train, and then I started getting like emotional, and then I saw her come around, and then she stood at the end of the aisle, and at that moment, like for a split second, I was so glad that it wasn't St. Peter and Paul, because
The church that
the church we normally go to, the aisle is like a football field's length away.
So
It's just like so long, but this one's like, I don't know, maybe a tennis court. But I always have to bring sports. And then she started walking and walking, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna cry. I'm definitely gonna cry. And then she was walking, and I just got like immediately started getting teary-eyed, and I was like, what's happening? But yeah, and then I think that was the only moment where I cried, but I was very, very happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I just instantly, like, my heart started beating out of my chest.
Yeah.
Like the moment I was like at the end of the aisle looking at you, I was like, this is actually happening.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We had a couple priests there for the mass, and I think that was super powerful and super beautiful. Um, Such an amazing homily by Deacon Paul. Should definitely watch that. We have the recording of the wedding. But I think what really got to me was the actual, they call it the nuptial blessing. So kind of the words that are said, saying like what's happening. And I think we need to rewatch that.
Yeah, because I don't remember.
Yeah, because I think at the time I was like so just in awe with the words and what we were being, like what was being blessed. But I think that was kind of like I don't know, like the moment where it was like, God is really making us one. Like he's making us one.
Yeah.
And I think I expected like this crazy like we're one like some like like everything just happening at once where you just like feel like all of a sudden like that. It was definitely super beautiful and moving, but I think like the graces were kind of felt and continue to be felt.
I think what we had thought was like embracing or knowing the oneness of the sacrament in us.
Yeah.
That it, like, there was moments, I forget what example specifically, but we'd experienced some moments before marriage that we were like, is this what marriage is gonna feel like? Is this what the oneness feels like? And then we got married and we we're like, it's not immediate. Where's the oneness?
Yeah.
But then afterwards, like, especially, I keep saying it to everybody, but I haven't told you guys, where there's things where, like, there's habits that I take up that I did not have before, that they feel like they've been there for forever. And one of the things that sounds weird, but cleaning. So at work, like, or normally Sandra, she's cleaning and then she's like, the house is so dirty. And I'm like, what's so dirty? I don't see anything that's so dirty here. And then she's like cleaning. She's, this is dirty. This is dirty. This is dirty. And then I'm like, what are you looking at that's so dirty? And I made fun of her a lot for that. But then at work, after getting married, I went back and I started cleaning and I just was like, that's dirty. This is dirty. That's dirty. Why is this so dirty? Man, I need to clean that. And then they would ask me to do something and I would be like, but I need to clean this first.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I don't know that. There's a lot of other things, but that's the one that I remember.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think that we'll give you like a watch next time. So like I think would be great to now talk about like how the oneness graces affected us living together and moving in with each other. And for me, things like having the same bank account, having like all our emails are open to each other, like our phones are open to each other. Those were things that I thought would never happen, but it's like the most amazing thing for me. And I just think that would be an awesome conversation and things to talk to you about. So I think we'll stop here. We have mass to go to and go sing at, but we're excited to continue to talk to you about our journey and
and have these be more consistent for you guys.
Oh my gosh, yes. So we'll see you next time. Remember that you're loved. Thanks so